Have you ever felt the weight of emotional attachment pressing down on your chest? That hollow ache of giving too much, of caring too deeply, while losing pieces of yourself in the process? You're not alone. Many have walked this path, feeling trapped, powerless, stuck in cycles they don't understand. But here's the truth: there is a way out, not by shutting down or becoming cold, but by rising calmly and deliberately through clarity and inner discipline. This video reveals 10 powerful Stoic habits that will help you emotionally detach without losing who you are. These principles are not about abandoning love or connection. They are about reclaiming control. They will help you recognize manipulation, withstand emotional chaos, and return to center, strong, composed, and free. Because true detachment isn't about turning away from life. It's about stepping into it with a clear mind, a steady heart, and the unshakable strength of a man who belongs to himself. Have you ever felt the weight of emotional attachment pressing down on your chest? That hollow ache of giving too much, of caring too deeply, while losing pieces of yourself in the process? You're not alone. Many have walked this path, feeling trapped, powerless, stuck in cycles they don't understand. But here's the truth: there is a way out, not by shutting down or becoming cold, but by rising calmly and deliberately through clarity and inner discipline. This video reveals 10 powerful Stoic habits that will help you emotionally detach without losing who you are. These principles are not about abandoning love or connection. They are about reclaiming control. They will help you recognize manipulation, withstand emotional chaos, and return to center, strong, composed, and free. Because true detachment isn't about turning away from life. It's about stepping into it with a clear mind, a steady heart, and the unshakable strength of a man who belongs to himself. 1. Detachment in practice. It's one thing to understand detachment in theory. It's another to live it when your emotions are raw, when your heart is pulled, and when silence feels like punishment. This is where philosophy meets reality. Detachment is not a switch you flip. It's a discipline you build, moment by moment. The Stoics knew this. They trained their minds daily, not to become emotionless, but to remain unmoved by the waves that threaten to pull weaker men under. Imagine holding a burning rope. You grip it because you're afraid to let go, but the longer you hold, the more damage it does. Detachment is the courage to release your grip, not because you don't care, but because you've realized that peace is more valuable than pain disguised as love. Start with presence. Notice when your mind clings to the past, replays conversations, or fantasizes about what could have been. Each time, bring yourself back to now, back to your breath, back to what's real. Detachment is not about avoiding emotion. It's about guiding it. You give yourself permission to feel without being ruled by those feelings. You acknowledge longing, but you do not feed it. You recognize sadness, but you do not bow to it. Instead, you act with principle. You stay true to your values, even when the temptation to chase, to fix, to control feels overwhelming. This is strength, silent, internal, unwavering, and it grows each time you choose discipline over reaction. Let go of what clings to your mind like a shadow. Let go of the idea that your worth is found in what walks away. You were not born to chase. You were born to create, to grow, to build a life so grounded in truth that nothing external can shatter it. This is what Stoicism offers: a path to stillness amid emotional chaos, a return to inner command. When you practice detachment, you are not becoming less human, you are becoming more whole, because only the man who is free within can love without fear. Walk away with grace and stand alone without being empty. That is the real power of detachment, not escape, but mastery. 2. The power of detachment. Ask yourself this: how much control over your emotional state have you given away without even realizing it? How often do you feel anxious, angry, or helpless because of what someone else did or didn't do? This is the cost of unchecked attachment. When your emotions become tethered to another person's approval, affection, or behavior, you've surrendered your power. But the Stoics remind us of a deeper truth: your peace is your responsibility. Detachment is not apathy, and it's not cold indifference. It is deliberate. It is the disciplined choice to protect your internal world from external chaos. Epictetus taught that we suffer not from events, but from our judgment of them. That means your suffering is not always caused by what someone did, it's caused by how tightly you hold on to what they did. Detachment is the art of loosening that grip, of stepping back from the emotional battlefield and seeing clearly. Imagine your emotions as a kite. The more strings you tie to people, outcomes, or expectations, the more you are tossed around by the winds of life. But when you detach, you regain control. You choose which strings to cut and which to keep. This is not running from life, it's engaging with life from a position of strength. When someone disrespects you, you no longer spiral. When someone leaves, you no longer crumble, because you understand this truth: no one else has the right to dictate the state of your soul. To begin practicing detachment, start with awareness. Who are you overly attached to? What situations dominate your thoughts? Then ask why. Is it fear of being forgotten? Is it a story you've told yourself about your worth being tied to them? Once you see it, you can begin to untangle it. Replace dependency with purpose. Fill your time with pursuits that align with your values, your health, your discipline, your mission. The more rooted you become in your own principles, the less you are shaken by the noise outside. Detachment does not close your heart. It purifies it. It teaches you to give love freely, without letting that love destroy your peace. And in doing so, you become untouchable, not because you've become numb, but because you've become whole. That is the power of detachment, and that is where your emotional freedom begins. 3. The illusion of control. One of the greatest traps in emotional attachment is the silent belief that if you just say the right words, do the right things, or love hard enough, you can control the outcome. You think you can make someone stay, make them understand, make them love you the way you need. But this is an illusion, a dangerous one. The Stoics warned us against it. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Control is not out there. It is not in the hands of another person. It is within. And the more you try to control what you cannot, people, outcomes, the past, the more you lose control of what you can, your thoughts, your focus, your dignity. Emotional detachment begins with surrender, not a weak surrender, but a powerful one. It is the moment you stop chasing certainty in others and start building certainty within yourself. It is understanding that you cannot change someone's heart by sacrificing your own. You cannot make someone honest by becoming smaller. You cannot fix someone else's chaos by creating storms inside your own mind. Let go of the need to manage how others feel about you. Let go of the pressure to maintain their affection or their loyalty. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to stay anchored in who you are, to protect your peace, your time, your values. This is not a call to give up on people. It is a call to stop giving up on yourself in the process. The illusion of control is a form of self-deception. It keeps you in a loop, trying harder, bending more, losing parts of yourself, hoping for a different result. But real strength is found in letting go, in recognizing that you are only responsible for your half of the story. You choose how to act, how to respond, how to live, and that is enough. The Stoics lived by this principle. They focused only on what they could govern: their minds, their choices, their character. And in doing so, they became unshakable. When you stop trying to control the storm and start becoming the calm inside it, you shift everything. You become less reactive, more intentional, less disparity, more grounded. And that shift, silent and powerful, is how you begin to reclaim your life. It is how you break the chains of emotional dependence, and it is how you return, quietly and fully, to your own authority. Fear, understanding attachment. If you want to break free, you must first understand what binds you. Attachment is not love. It is not connection. It is dependence, quiet, invisible, but powerful. It often grows in the shadows of fear, disguised as devotion. We cling to people, to outcomes, to old versions of ourselves, not because they serve us, but because we fear what life looks like without them. But the Stoics teach us that fear is a false master. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." That includes emotional wants, the craving to be needed, to be praised, to be chosen. When you depend on these things to feel whole, you hand your peace to the outside world. And the world is too chaotic to trust with something that's sacred. True understanding begins when you ask, what am I really afraid of? Am I afraid to be alone? Am I afraid to feel forgotten? Am I scared to confront who I am without this person, this title, this comfort? The answers to those questions reveal the root of attachment, the ego. The ego whispers that you are not enough without something or someone outside of you, and so you chase, you cling, you compromise your values just to hold on. But this path only deepens your suffering. The Stoic response is different. It is still, it is internal. It says, if I am to be free, I must be willing to lose what was never mine to control. And if I am to be strong, I must stop building my worth on unstable ground. This is where the work begins, not in cutting people off, but in cutting through the illusion that you cannot stand without them. You must confront that illusion and replace it with truth, the truth that you were born complete, the truth that your value is not dependent on attention, or praise, or proximity. When you release your grip on what you think you need, you create space for what you truly deserve. You no longer chase validation, you move with purpose. You no longer beg to be chosen, you choose yourself. And in that silence, in that clarity, in that steady return to your core, you discover power. Real power, not the kind that dominates others, but the kind that refuses to be dominated. Understanding attachment is the beginning of inner liberation. It is the moment you stop asking others to fill you and start becoming full on your own. That is the path forward. That is the way of the Stoic. 5. Embrace the present moment. If your mind is constantly revisiting the past or racing ahead into the future, you will never be fully alive where it matters most here. Now, the present moment is all you truly own. Yet most people abandon it for illusions. They replay conversations that cannot be changed, or they rehearse outcomes that haven't happened and may never come to pass. This mental wandering isn't harmless. It's a subtle form of suffering. The Stoics warned us of this trap. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." That one command holds immense power, because when you live in the present, you take your mind back from the stories, the regrets, and the fears that drain your energy and cloud your focus. Detachment depends on presence. If you are still entangled with yesterday's pain or tomorrow's fantasies, you cannot see clearly what needs to be done today. And clarity is strength, so you must train your mind to return again and again to what is real. Practice grounding yourself in the now. Notice your breath. Notice your thoughts, but do not follow them. Observe your surroundings without judgment. Feel your feet on the ground. Hear the sound of your own silence. In doing so, you reclaim your power. You no longer drift in the currents of distraction. You stand firm in the truth of this moment. The past may carry lessons, and the future may require preparation. But neither deserves your full attention right now, because this moment is where change begins. This is where detachment is practiced. This is where your discipline is forged. The present is the battlefield where you decide whether you will be ruled by impulse or led by principle. Stop waiting for some perfect future to grant you peace. Create it now, by how you think, how you act, how you breathe. Presence is not just a calming practice, it is a tactical advantage. It keeps you alert, focused, and resilient. It protects you from being pulled into emotional traps, disguised as memories or dreams. A man anchored in the present is a man who cannot be easily manipulated. He is grounded. He is alert. He is clear. That is the strength of Stoic detachment, not a life of avoidance, but a life of full engagement. Right here, right now. Embrace the present moment, not because it is comfortable, but because it is the only place where your power truly lives. 6. The path to happiness. Many people search for happiness as if it was something to be earned, found, or granted by another. They tie their emotional well-being to someone's attention, to a title, to a relationship, or to fleeting moments of approval. But the Stoics teach something deeper, something far more powerful. True happiness, the kind that endures, is not built on circumstances. It is forged in character. It comes not from possession, but from perception, not from control, but from inner alignment. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." When you free yourself from the illusion that happiness lies outside of you, you reclaim the quiet truth that it has always lived within you. You do not need someone else to complete you. You do not need external success to validate your existence. You need alignment. You need peace between who you are and how you live. That is the foundation of lasting happiness. Emotional detachment is not about becoming numb. It is about becoming centered. It allows you to appreciate connection without becoming consumed by it. It lets you love without losing yourself. It gives you space to grow without begging for permission. This is the path of the self-possessed man, the man who does not seek to dominate others, but who refuses to be dominated by his own desires. To walk this path, begin by redefining what happiness means to you. Strip away the noise. Ask yourself, if I had nothing to prove, what would make my life meaningful? The answer will not be found in someone else's hands. It will be found in how you carry yourself through the world. It will be in your habits, your purpose, your resilience. That is the kind of happiness no one can take from you. And that is why detachment is not the end of joy. It is the beginning of it. It is the doorway to a life where peace is not a reaction to what goes right, but a decision you make regardless of what goes wrong. This is not philosophy for the faint-hearted. It is a call to take full ownership of your emotional state, to stop waiting for permission to be content. The Stoic man does not wait. He decides. He chooses discipline over distraction, presence over fantasy, truth over comfort. And in doing so, he builds a life of quiet strength, unwavering focus, and deep, internal joy. That is the path to happiness. And it begins the moment you stop chasing and start becoming. 7. Reframe your thoughts. Every battle you face begins in the mind. And the thoughts you allow to grow are the ones that shape your reality. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are laced with fear, attachment, or self-doubt, your actions will reflect that. But if your thoughts are rooted in strength, clarity, and purpose, then no setback, no rejection, no loss will have the power to break you. Emotional detachment is not about suppressing thoughts, it's about mastering them. It is about intercepting the narrative before it becomes a prison. When you catch yourself thinking, "I need this person to be happy," or "I can't move on without them," pause. Ask yourself who planted that thought. And more importantly, is it true? The answer, if you're honest, is almost always no. You were whole before them, and you will be whole without them. Your peace does not depend on their presence. It depends on your perspective. Reframing your thoughts means trading weakness for wisdom. It means replacing emotional dependency with mental discipline. Instead of thinking, "I was abandoned," reframe it to, "I was redirected to something more aligned with who I am becoming." Instead of saying, "They hurt me," say, "I allowed them too much access to my emotions, and now I choose better." This isn't denial, it's command. It's how a Stoic man rewrites his internal script to reflect strength instead of submission. The mind is a battlefield, and the weapon is awareness. You must be vigilant with your thoughts, because, unchecked, they will drag you into emotional chains. But once reframed, those same thoughts become your shield. They protect your peace, your purpose, your identity. To do this effectively, build the habit of questioning everything you tell yourself. Write down your negative thoughts. Break them apart. Look for truth, not emotion. Then rewrite them in a way that aligns with who you are, not who pain tried to make you. This daily discipline, simple, silent, and private, becomes your power. It gives you the authority to decide what lives in your mind and what dies there. And once you reclaim that authority, emotional detachment is no longer a struggle, It becomes your natural state, a calm, focused mind that responds with strength, not fear. That is the reward of reframing your thoughts. And that is how you build mental armor that no one can penetrate. 8. Engage in self-care. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your energy, and your emotional labor, choosing to take care of yourself is not selfish, it is strategic. The Stoics believed in cultivating strength of both mind and body, because resilience is not accidental. It is built through consistent discipline and intentional recovery. Self-care is not about luxury, it is about maintenance. It is about doing what keeps you grounded, focused, and unshaken in the face of adversity. When you neglect yourself, you become reactive, you become drained, vulnerable, and easily pulled into emotional traps. But when you prioritize self-care, you return to your center. You sharpen your awareness. You become more discerning in your choices, more precise in your boundaries, and more resilient in your emotional state. This is not about spa days or surface-level comfort. It is about building a foundation so solid that chaos cannot shake you. Exercise your body. Challenge your limits. Let physical effort teach your mind that you are capable of enduring discomfort without collapsing. Practice stillness. Sit in silence. Let your thoughts surface without judgment. And learn to observe without reacting. This is how you build mastery. Feed your mind with strength, not noise. Choose what you read, what you watch, what you listen to, because what you consume shapes what you become. And above all, protect your energy. Know who drains you, know what depletes you, and remove it without apology. The man who values himself does not allow his life to become a dumping ground for other people's chaos. He does not neglect his needs for the comfort of others. He operates from overflow, not from depletion. This is the quiet power of self-care. It restores you. It prepares you. It reinforces the truth that your well-being is your responsibility. When you care for yourself with discipline and intention, you send a message to the world and to yourself that your life is not up for misuse, that you are not desperate, not available to every demand, not easily shaken, that you stand guard over your own mind, your own body, and your own peace. And that, more than anything, is what makes you untouchable. Self-care is not a retreat from life. It is how you prepare for it. And it is how you win, quietly, from within. 9. Set healthy boundaries. If you do not define the limits of your space, someone else will. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors you control, deciding who enters, how far they come in, and how long they stay. Without boundaries, emotional attachment becomes a trap. You begin to confuse sacrifice with love, tolerance with strength, and silence with peace. The Stoics understood the importance of boundaries not as acts of aggression, but as acts of self-respect. A man without boundaries becomes a servant to everyone else's emotions. He is constantly pulled, manipulated, drained, because he never drew the line between what is his responsibility and what is not. Detachment begins by reclaiming that line, by saying, I am responsible for my thoughts, my peace, and my actions, not yours. Setting boundaries is not about being rude. It is about being rooted. It is a calm, firm, and steady decision to protect your energy and your mission. If someone violates your peace repeatedly, you are not obligated to explain your worth to them. You are obligated to defend it for yourself. This means saying no without guilt. It means walking away without drama. It means knowing that your value does not increase when you endure disrespect. It increases when you stop accepting it. Boundaries are not emotional fences. They are expressions of identity. Every time you reinforce one, you teach the world how to treat you. And more importantly, you teach yourself that you are worthy of respect. The Stoic man is not available to everyone. He is deliberate in his connections. He does not give his time, his heart, or his attention to those who disregard it. He observes, evaluates, and he acts. This is not coldness, it is clarity. It is the discipline to put peace over approval, to choose solitude over chaos, and to understand that real connection never requires you to betray yourself. When you set boundaries, you eliminate the confusion that leads to emotional entanglement. You stop dancing between what you feel and what you tolerate. And in that stillness, you gain strength. Not the loud kind, but the kind that says, I do not raise my voice, because I have already raised my standards. Boundaries are the framework of detachment. They allow you to care without being consumed, to give without being used, to love without being lost, and to walk away, when needed, with quiet confidence and unwavering resolve. Please practice gratitude. In the pursuit of more, many men forget the power of what already is. They chase validation, affection, recognition, believing peace lies just beyond the next achievement or the next person's approval. But the Stoics knew better. They understood that the mind, left untrained, will always focus on what's missing. Gratitude is how you reclaim that focus. It is not passive, and it is not sentimental. It is a discipline, a weapon, a strategic act of defiance against the mind's tendency to dwell in lack. When you practice gratitude, you interrupt the cycle of comparison and attachment. You remind yourself that happiness does not come from having everything. It comes from seeing clearly, from recognizing that what you have right now is enough to ground you, to grow you, and to sustain you. That clarity is power. It protects you from manipulation, because a man who is content within cannot be baited by false promises or emotional games. He cannot be seduced by illusions, because he sees through them. Gratitude strips away the noise. It silences the voice that says, "You are not enough until someone else says so." It replaces that voice with a quiet truth. I am already full, and from this fullness, I give. Begin this practice simply. Each morning, before the world can touch your mind, name 3 things you are grateful for. Not vague ideas, specific truths. The breath in your lungs, the strength in your legs, the discipline in your choices. Over time, this habit rewires your perception. It grounds you in abundance, not scarcity. It makes you harder to shake, harder to fool, harder to drain. Because you are no longer reaching outward for meaning, you are rooted in it. The Stoic man knows that gratitude is not weakness. It is perspective. It is the ability to see clearly, to remain steady, to resist the chaos of emotional hunger. And in doing so, he becomes dangerous to anything that seeks to control him. Gratitude is a shield, a reminder, a declaration that says, I do not need more to be complete. I need presence. I need principle. I need truth. And all of that I already possess. When you live from this place, you are no longer ruled by what's missing. You are led by what matters. And that, more than anything, is how you detach with strength, with silence, and with unshakable peace. Emotional detachment is not about becoming cold. It is not about building walls or pretending you don't feel. It is about rising quietly, powerfully above the chaos that once controlled you. It is about reclaiming what was always yours: your mind, your energy, your peace. The Stoic path is not a retreat from life. It is a deeper engagement with it. With eyes wide open and emotions in check, you begin to move differently. You no longer react. You respond. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer seek permission. You take responsibility. Through these 10 habits, you have been handed a new standard for living, one rooted in self-command, strategic awareness, and emotional independence. Now it's up to you. Will you let the world pull you in every direction? Or will you anchor yourself so deeply in principle that nothing can move you? Remember, this strength is not found in how loud you are, but in how little you need to prove. Power is not control over others. It is mastery over yourself. Let detachment become your quiet armor. Let your silence become your signal. And let your presence speak with more force than any words ever could. You do not need to be harder. You need to be clearer, sharper, calmer. And you will find that when your peace becomes non-negotiable, everything around you changes. This is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of your return to self. Choose to walk it with discipline, with vision, with calm, unwavering strength.